Hey, my friends, it's Kevin here, back with another Reddit review where I dive into Reddit and find some interesting challenges, questions, and scenarios that other marketing freelancers and professionals are facing in the world of marketing. And I give you my top 3 pieces of advice on how to do things better for that particular situation. So hopefully you've experienced something similar. Hopefully in this particular case, you haven't experienced something similar, but probably you have. And in this episode, we're going to get into those details and how I would approach it. So if you're new around here, my name is Kevin Whelan. I'm a full-time marketing strategy advisor. I've been doing that since 2016. Before that, I ran an agency and freelance for a number of years, over a decade. And I like to explore the business side of marketing, and that's what this channel is all about. And so you can subscribe if you're interested in leveling up your marketing practice and building a more strategic, more profitable business. So let's get into it here. So today we're going to talk about burnout tips and what to do if you're on the edge of burnout. So this is one that I found today on Reddit. It was one of the top posts in the freelance community. And so the topic was experiencing burnout right now, any tips? So I'll give you my top 3 in this video. Let's read it. So first, real burnout since the pandemic. And it might be that because I overextended myself and put too much on my plate. Sad face. I'm the type of person who says yes quite a lot because I'd rather have reserve clients and tasks if or when a client suddenly ghosts me. But I have overcommitted. I may have overcommitted. Plus, I've been having some personal/minor health issues. I want to ask them for time off, but I don't know how clients will react to it. Seriously, want to take a whole month off, but I know that won't be possible. Sad face. Any tips on how to overcome burnout while freelancing? I don't have any friends too, so that kind of sucks. So really sorry to hear, especially about the last part about the friends thing. We need to think of ourselves as holistic beings. We're not mechanical cogs in a mechanical machine. So we need to think of ourselves as a very valuable, unique contributor to any marketing program. So first and foremost, make sure you have time for your friends. Make sure you have time for your personal life, because if you burn the wick on both ends, you're just going to be not only out of business, you're going to be out of friends, and your life's not going to have much meaning to it. So before we get into the 3 tips, and this is kind of related to the 3rd tip, make sure you have time for yourself to do the things that are important to you personally, because if your personal life is not in order, your professional life also won't be in order. So first piece of advice is to really make sure that you're charging appropriately for your work. And the way I deem appropriate is think about how much you want to earn, and imagine yourself only working 50% of the available hours in a week. So maybe 20 hours a week, roughly, give or take. And some weeks are going to be busier and you're going to take on too much, and that's fine. But by and large, you want to design your pricing and your business in a way that you can work 50% of the hours and still have a very profitable and happy business. And so figure out what you want to earn. And then, also at the same time with this is be pragmatic about where you are in your marketing career. So you may want to earn, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, but if you're a newer designer, a newer web developer, you may want to think more practically about, where you're going to make your money. And one way of doing this is if you were to go get a job in your field today, do you make maybe 2 times as much, maybe 3 times as much, depending on your stage of career, as you would with a salary? Because you are at the end of the day taking a risk being a freelancer or a consultant. So you want to make sure that you're gaining more in income than you would with a regular job. Obviously, there's other benefits of doing that, and that's just kind of how I see it. But typically, if you're taking a risk, you want a proportionate payoff. So make sure you're charging enough that you have 50% bandwidth. A lot of people are just charging as low as they can because they want to get the deal, and then they find themselves having to work so many hours and then not having any free time, personal time to do anything else with anyone else. And that's a recipe for burnout. So if your financial modeling, if the amount of money you can make at 50% of your bandwidth is not what you want to be making from your freelance or consulting career, you're probably not charging enough. So keep that in mind. So the next point I want to talk to you about is always be marketing yourself. And so I think one of the things you said here is that you want to have reserve clients and tasks if or when a client suddenly ghosts me. And I think we all want to. We all want to we want to be a little busier than maybe we feel comfortable with, so that if someone goes away, we have our still base amount. And I do this all the time. I'm just kind of out of a period of that right now. And I was booked. So I've been booked solid all year. And now I'm, finally having an attrition in my business, which gives me a little more bandwidth, and, things are kind of feeling a little more normal. So you want that, right? But you also want to be charging in a way that if 50% of your time is fully booked up, that you're really happy with the amount of money you're earning, so that anything else is bonus. But in order to make sure that you always have a good steady pipeline, you want to spend the remaining 50% of your time marketing yourself, working on your business, maybe working on your skills and education, but primarily improving your website, having a portfolio, having testimonials, being credible, de-risking the process of hiring you by making yourself look like a professional on your website. I say first look good on paper. And that might be, figuring out a specialization or a niche area of focus, or if you're newer, still being broad, but saying, look, here's the type of work I do. Here are the happy clients I've worked with. Here's a long list of them. And ideally you want to be really doing case studies, or at least showcasing testimonials, which is my preferred method. It's easier to do than long case studies, but show the results and make sure those testimonials are results driven. And what you're doing is de-risking the process of hiring you, so that when you then go and market yourself, when you publish on social media, when you write blog posts, when you have emails, whatever you're doing to market yourself, they're going to go to your website. That's where people tend to do a lot of consideration. Even if they've been referred to you, where they may trust you more, they're still going to look at your website and say, is this person credible? Do they say they do the types of things that I'm looking for them to do? And ideally, as you get more advanced and as you've been doing marketing for longer, the thing you say you do is highly specific to the type of person you want to help, so that they go to your website and go, wow, this person clearly does this type of work for people like me all the time. It's most of the market who does general freelance, general work, right? And for anyone. And so ideally, as time goes on, you want to get more and more specialized for a specific audience to de-risk that process. So going back to point number 2, it's always marketing yourself and spending that remaining 50% of your time on business development. That might be outreaching to ideal clients. That might be working on your website, your portfolio, your proof, your testimonials, anything that makes you look credible and de-risk hiring you, have a good guarantee maybe. And then, being on social media, being active, and doing the biz dev stuff that'll help you grow your business, reaching out to people, guesting on podcasts, see if you can speak on stage, do video, put yourself out there. People prefer to do business with people that they kind of know, like, and trust. And video is a great way to convey that. So always be marketing yourself, because that's going to allow you to turn away poor fit clients, to have more demand than you have supply. And so when more people want to work with you than you can provide for, that allows you to see what the market can bear. That allows you to charge a little more for every next client that you get. And that allows you to work only half of your time and make the money you want to make, without feeling like I have to be constantly working in order to make the income that I want and to de-risk my own growth. So marketing is essential. It's your ethical responsibility, as I've said. It's the only thing that will help you guarantee that there's a pipeline coming. And it's the only thing that's going to keep you from getting a job. If you don't market yourself, you're not going to have clients. You're going to have to go work for someone else. And so that allows you some free time, some bandwidth. This morning I went to the gym. I started work at 11 a.m. I did an exercise at the gym at 9:30, and I had, that hour and a half of personal time to kind of, this is Friday, to kind of think and to invest in myself and ease into my day a little more. And so those types of habits have allowed me to sustain myself for over a decade, full-time independent, as well as, prior parts of my life where maybe I was less efficient and more prone to burnout. So that's point number 2. So number 1 is make sure you charge appropriately so you can work about half of your available bandwidth, half available time, so that B, you can spend the rest of the time, which is point number 2, marketing yourself. And point number 3 is, when it comes to burnout, you want to find a way to back off the edge of burnout. It sounds like you're pretty close to that edge. And the problem with burnout is that once you go over a line, once you fully burn out, it can be very hard to go back to do your thing anymore. So you kind of lose the right to play. So there's actually a lot at stake here. And I don't want to over dramatize this, but I also want to give you permission to say to your clients, look, there's some personal things coming up. I'm feeling a little bit stressed or overworked, or however you need to broach that with your clients. Ideally, you're working with people that you trust and that you like, and they like you, and your clients will actually value your transparency. So I don't know exactly what you do in your freelance career, but you really can't go over that line, because there's oftentimes no coming back. A lot of people burn out and then just have to do something entirely different. So obviously it says you can't take a month off, but you want to. So how do you, who can you work with, like who in your client base can you work with and say, hey, I need to back off, or I need to take at least a full week off or 2 weeks off. And, don't think of a ton of context, but mostly like, I'm at the brink of burning out, but, and I know that I need to invest in myself to be my best. So I'm taking 2 weeks off. I hope that's okay. And I hope, and I'll have to give you 3 out of 4 deliverables this month. Is that cool with you? So you really have to kind of negotiate with every one of your clients. Keep in mind though, as well, just because you're a freelancer doesn't mean you don't get vacations. And so you have to decide, depending on your business, and this comes back to the point 1 about having constraints, have charging so you can work only 50% of your time. But ideally, you're able to bank a few deliverables or whatever your process is, so you can back off your work for a bit and or just say, look, I'm not available for 2 weeks, like figure it out. And so you really have to protect yourself. You really have to make sure you don't go across the line of burnout. Good clients will understand this. Good clients know that you need vacations and breaks. Bad clients who are, everything is their emergency represents your emergency. Those aren't the kind of people you want to work with. None of this is an emergency. This is all businesses just wanting to get results faster and do more things. As long as you're reliable the rest of the time, and the only way you can be reliable is if you have bandwidth and you don't burn out. So in order to be reliable the rest of the time, you need to have breaks. They always say, I heard a quote before, it was something like, time off is not a reward for hard work. It's a prerequisite for hard work. And so just keep that in mind. The burnout is real. You may not come back from it if you go too far down the line. So try to pull back now while you can. So just to kind of summarize real quick, number one is charge appropriately for your work. What does that look like? Well, pick your ideal revenue target and make sure you can get that within about half of the amount of time that you have, maybe 60%. But people are always surprised when I say this. And that's frankly what you need to be aiming for. Aside from a few busy phases, there's always going to be a few busy phases of your life, but make sure you're charging enough that you can work half the time and be really happy with that. 2 is market yourself consistently and frequently in just the channels that are going to work best for you. I look for opportunities to get in front of other audiences in my target market, but it may vary for you dramatically. And just think of yourself as helping and teaching your target market as best as possible around your area of expertise. That's going to allow you to always have more demand for your services than you can supply, which will allow you to keep your prices up and allow you to basically choose when you take on new work. And then number 3 is just stay back from that edge of burnout. Whatever you do, don't fully burn out. Our job is hard. Clients don't always know how much work it takes to deliver the outcomes that we do. Things look easy. They take longer than they look. And so it's our job to make sure that we manage expectations and to let clients know, hey, I'm going to be taking this week and a half, this 2 weeks off this month, as well as the month after. Get yourself, and then totally turn off, like totally you go for walks, like self-indulge. But you have to do that. Otherwise you'll burn out. You'll go out of business. You'll be back at a job. You'll burn out at the job. Life will not be fun. And you need that time to invest in your friendships and your personal life. So pay attention to that feeling. Don't look for permission. If you do need permission, this is my permission to you. And hopefully this helps you and other people like you in the future. So that's all for now, my friends. If you're interested in more content like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And I'll be doing more of these Reddit reviews and talking about topics and challenges that we all face as marketing and freelance consultants. You can also head over to kevin.me. It's my personal website, and you'll right on the homepage there's a crash course on how to go from selling execution work to advising, teaching, and training instead. So creating more leverage in your business. That's just over at kevin.me. You can sign up right on the list, and you'll see I've got hundreds of articles on various topics just like this right on the blog. Okay, I'll see you in the next video, and be sure to check out this one. It's around content marketing on one of my recent Reddit reviews. It might be related to this. See you in the next video. Bye for now.